Yo, what up? ¿Qué pasa? Yaxprawes and Mayangi Salvete. What is going on? What is going on? So today I am attempting to do a short video here regarding a piece that I found that dates back all the way to 2001 from no other than Entertainment Weekly, of all places. I can't remember where I found this. It must have been on Wiki. I found it like a week or two ago. And I think I was reading about, again, the disagreements between Simon Tolkien, the son of Christopher Tolkien, and Christopher Tolkien, who is the son of J.R.R. Tolkien, and all their different thoughts on the literary work of J.R.R. Tolkien. So, in short, Simon Tolkien had a different take on seeing the literature portrayed on screen. He wanted to do that, whereas Christopher Tolkien did not. And, you know, the funny thing is that it gets in even deeper and a little more thorny things because just to start reading here, see, it says J.R.R. Tolkien's grandson Simon will be in attendance at the premiere, but Simon's father Christopher will not. The trilogy was made not only without any consultation with the estate of J.R.R. Tolkien, who died in 1973, but also amid disagreements among the author's family as to whether the movie should even be made. Simon said, "It was my view that we take a much more positive line on the film, and that was overruled by my father." The British press reported that Christopher Tolkien, 77, refused to see Simon or take his phone calls to discuss the production. Now, the next paragraph is what really surprised me because as I continued to investigate this story, if you will, this narrative, the backstory of how the movies were made, I discovered that, according to Peter Jackson, who directed and co-wrote the 3 films, said that the Tolkien disagreement over his movies is part of a wider family rift. He and his father have been estranged for many, many years, Jackson told EW.com. The press have painted it like the film has caused this. But I know that when we met Simon 3 years ago, he and his father were not on speaking terms then. So that was in 1998. So in 1998, 3 years before 2001, when The Fellowship of the Ring movie was released in theaters, Simon Tolkien and his father Christopher Tolkien were not on speaking terms. 1998, I want to drive that point home. They just were not talking. So it's not the movies. And this is even better. This is just gold right here. I mean, it just explains so much because Jackson says, the press have painted it like the film has caused this, but I know that when we met Simon 3 years ago and his father were not on speaking terms then. There's a history to it that we don't really know about. So I was like, wow, mind blown, you know? So this is what I was approaching in some of my other videos about how the Tolkien estate, now being led by some members of the Tolkien family and Simon Tolkien, this is how the Tolkien estate is parceling out the intellectual property. Because as I've said in other videos, and to keep this short, I'm not going to go into those topics here. Suffice to say that within a matter of months, as I have stated in another video, within a matter of months after Christopher Tolkien stepped down from being a director of the Tolkien estate, basically guarding the lore of his father, J.R.R. Tolkien, and this is in 2017, when Christopher Tolkien stepped down, I believe it was August 31st, within a matter of months, Amazon had bought the rights to Lord of the Rings, like by November, like within 2 months, early November, 2.5 months. So something had to have been in the works even before Christopher Tolkien stepped down. So continuing, this is what's fascinating. I mean, you dig into this, and I need to support these points with other videos that I've seen of interviews with Christopher Tolkien. I mean, he provides so much insight into how the text of The Hobbit, The Lord of the Rings, and The Silmarillion was compiled and was written into a coherent narrative that took 60, 70, 80 years to do. So Christopher Tolkien finally spoke out over the weekend saying that he doubts any film of his father's epic could work. Fascinating, in the words of Mr. Spock. My own position, quote, is that The Lord of the Rings is peculiarly unsuitable to transformation into visual dramatic form, he said in a statement. On the other hand, I realize that this is a debatable and complex question of art, and the suggestions that have been made that I disapprove, quote unquote, of the films, whatever their cinematic quality, even to the extent of thinking ill of those with whom I may differ, are wholly without foundation. So he basically says, you know, if I don't care, he says. He's saying, I don't wish anybody any ill will. I just don't think it'll work. It's just not what J.R.R. Tolkien would have wanted. Even the late author himself has been dragged into the fray. Tolkien biographer Michael White says he believes the author would have hated the current film on principle. He hated all things Hollywood. I think he would have just closed his eyes to it. White, though, seems to have no compunctions about capitalizing on the film, since his book J.R.R. Tolkien is being published tomorrow, in time to ride the wave of Rings hype. Yes, score one. Oh, man. They can have opinions about the movie, says Peter Jackson, but to have an attitude about the fact that the film got made in the first place is a little bit unfair to the people that own the rights, because the rights were sold by J.R.R. Tolkien himself in 1968. He cashed the check, and he enjoyed the money before he died. The people who bought the rights off Tolkien should be allowed to make the film that they paid for. Man, I mean, this just, makes, for me, Peter Jackson, +1, and Simon Tolkien -1. I mean, this just further paints Peter Jackson in so much better light. I mean, and it just paints Simon Tolkien as just a selfish little, he's just a spoiled brat. He's very, very smart, but he's also just spoiled. He's a selfish little spoiled brat. So there, I said it. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know the guy. Again, I'm not trying to defame the man. I know that he is a successful barrister. He is a successful solicitor. He has been both. He switched to the bar, according to another article. And, he actually has written some things. Some works better than others. So I'm not taking anything away from the man. But with respect to the Tolkien lore and the Tolkien estate and all of that stuff, he seems to think that he is a special person with respect to that because he had a positive relationship with his grandfather, J.R.R. Tolkien, which, hey, great, that's fine. But, that doesn't mean that he is the best person to be a director of the Tolkien estate and guide the path of adapting these books and this material into a film format. That's what I think. Thanks you all for listening. Thank you all for watching. Appreciate y'all. And let me know what you think in the comments below. I'll be happy to hear about it. And if you have any more information on all this stuff, I would love to learn about it. I continue to read and research and learn more every day. So I'd be happy to learn about stuff that I am not aware of. So thanks again. Appreciate y'all. Until next time, see you in the next video, and peace out.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother...